Mr. Cropper, it's funny to see you criticize Zorio about forgetting and absent as a constituent to thought, stating that it's his way of saying we have a finite consciousness, which is actually what you said, which is limiting and it isn't fine and it isn't well. Then you argue integration as a description of what thinking is or what thinking requires. But to make emphasis of your retort, you speak about mental space savers or concepts. And inherent in your statement is the same argument of mind as a finite or existing in or as a space. I suppose you mean the 5 inches of space between your ears. Mr. Cropper, as thinking is a matter of integration, as a rudimentary point in your argument, I'm certain that the abacus model of having a full mind of beads, so that if you're going to add another bead, then one must pop out of the other side, which you assumed Zario was mentioning, simply doesn't suffice. And so you're about space savers. Perhaps your analogy has to do more with one filling their mind with Russian dolls that break apart with one more inside of the other, or in your case, garbage compactors. Still, you're using the mind as if it were a space or a room. So let's talk about integration, the additive model you propose, and let's be objective. And let's talk about watching a child wake up to get ready to go to his crappy communist education. And, well, this child is observably groggy and not too talkative. And, well, hey, let's talk about this other human being awaking from a deep slumber, and they're also groggy and non-communicative. Surely, since you're an advocate of the law of identity, you can identify with these people and these people's experiences. Now, you recall you have felt groggy and out of sorts upon your waking. But you, Mr. Cropper, instead of relishing languidly in a dream or a symbol association or in some abstract meaningful contemplation, which is part of our human condition, I might add, you, Mr. Cropper, you go from groggy to having a fully vested, unfaltering knowledge base integrated within the span of a single second. And included in your instant knowledge base is all of your education and all of your experience immediately to the forefront of your mind's eye, infinite, present, waiting to pounce on subjectivists. Juice, coffee, shower, shaving. These petty activities do not help nor hinder your getting your fully integrated knowledge set. You're a thinker, and all the presence of now is just integrating itself into the knowledge set. Well, that is absurd. So surely, Mr. Cropper, you, like myself and countless others, must make minute some instances of your mind for brief moments. That is to say, you must let lie in the background of your mind some instance of your past learning. Let's say about when you learned what a booger was, or perhaps your multiplication tables, or perhaps the teacher that taught you this in grammar school, or any of the other innumerable memories that we have. But for that moment, that idea recedes or is at least out of focus, or, to use a term Zario used, is forgotten. And in this forgetting, it's far, and it's far away. And in order for the word postmodernist or hermeneutics to roll to the forefront of your focus and your thoughts and out of your tongue for all of us to enjoy, These other ideas must not be in that focus. So, and perhaps the metaphor analogy, which you say is not possible for Zario, is the opposition to the focus of one's rational mind. That is to say, all the ideas that are not employed in any given instance, whether objective or subjective, are not there. The use of the word there in this case points and indicates no space at all. I'm using it abstractly. Now, you hate subjective arguments, but I bet you don't have a problem with the word subconscious or unconscious, and I know you don't have a problem with prepositions. Perhaps you can't find the word or the memory you wanted for some instance or another. Perhaps you've forgotten something, a name. Perhaps integrating another idea or retrieving an idea upon that lost idea is hapless and not possible. What is ironic is that your analogy, Mr. Cropper, about the mind is as spatial. Even though you use it to the vernacular, your use of prepositions when talking about spaceless items, such as ideas and the mind, is itself, and by your definition, a postmodern behavior. Mr. Cropper, conversely, Zario's use of the word forgot doesn't require objectivity nor subjectivity ostensibly, meaning that your analogy, your speech is subjective and begs the listener to iterate your claims. You're guilty of that which you're putting on trial. So the case is dismissed. Proper postmodernism, as you define it, may have permeated society, and it may be popular, but it has not violated objectivism. For objectivism, postmodernity is simply another class of language use cases, which Ayn Rand has defined or argued against, and which you beg. If you feel violated by this or any other form of communication, it might be because you are objectively narrow and, of your own admission, unlearned. You make an analogy of yourself as a general fighting for education, and you bark the good fight. You sound like a Mormon proselytizer without Christ. Thanks for your time.